So after learning the array input and understanding how to access each element at each index of the array, printing an array or matrix is a very straightforward job. So you may choose to print each element of the array separately, in which case you have to use the syntax like this. You can just use cout followed by any message for garnishing and then followed by the array name and then its index inside the box bracket. So students 0 means you will print the 0th element of the students array. Student 1 means you are going to print the 1th element of the students array, and students 2 means you are going to print the 2th element of the students array. Now you can choose to print the entire array as a whole. In that case, you have to use a for loop. In this example, what I have done is I have initialized an array, a loop variable. My loop variable is starting from 0. Since the array element, the array index starts from 0, my loop variable went until less than 3, and after every iteration it is incremented by 1. So after every iteration, when it will execute this cout statement, it is going to print first students 0, then student 1, and then the value in students 2. The same is true for the matrix also. However, as you all know by now, matrix is a two-dimensional array. So here, if you want to print each element using its index, you have to use both the row and column number. So the first statement will print the element at the 0th row and 0th column of students and majors array. The second cout statement, this one, will print the elements at 2th row and 1th column in the students and majors array or matrix. If you want to print all the elements of a matrix, you need to use a nested for loop. As you can see in here, the outer for loop is pointing towards the row. So it is basically incrementing from row 0 to row 3. And the inner for loop, it started from the 0th column and it went until it is less than 2. And every time it is just incrementing itself by 1. So in the first iteration, what will happen is both the value of row and column are 0, 0. In the second time, it will go for this column. So in the second iteration of the inner for loop, it will print the number for 0, 1. Then it will break down the inner loop and will come to the outer loop. And at that point of time, the value of row is just incremented by 1. So it will print the value at 1 and 0. And in this way, it will keep on printing each element one after another. So this is called the row major order traversal of the matrix. So every time it is targeting one row at a time, accessing all the columns inside it in this inner while loop and inner for loop, and then it is going to the next row. So in this way, it prints the matrix.